Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for.
Hey there, Nach. I think I cannot hear you. I don't know.
Hear me now.
Okay, great. Now I can.
Good. Uh, People who are watching, is there an echo? Do you hear us twice? Vocês estão ouvindo um eco? Ou vocês estão ouvindo direitinho?
Eu já peço desculpa pelo meu áudio, que eu tô me mudando. Então a casa tá vazia e eu tô sem fone, sem nada. Vai ter que ficar com um eco aí mesmo, mas é o que tem.
Eu também, quando eu pus o meu fone, você não me ouviu, né?
Pois
Então vai
é.
ter que ser sem. Ok, perfeitamente inteligente. Já vem aqui, ó. Já veio loud and clear 4 Agora não é mais 4/4. It's no longer. Okay. So readability 5.
Now it's fine.
Okay, fantastic. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Please share the live with your friends. Click on the plane there. I'm here with Fred. Fred works in Curitiba,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
In air defense. And he also has this fantastic profile that teaches us so very much about dot control. If you're not following about control, you're missing out on a lot of knowledge, on a lot of aviation knowledge. Throughout throughout the live, if you have any questions, use the card icon. It's like a speech bubble with the question mark. Podem fazer perguntas ali no botãozinho de pergunta, que tem um ponto de interrogação. E a Thalita Diniz, a minha colega, está aqui traduzindo em português, tá? Para quem precisar, ao vivo, tem a tradução. So, Fred, thank you very much for coming. I agree with Fabio Schreider. You are fantastic.
Well, pleasure's all mine. I'm humbled to be here. It's an honor. Since you asked me, I felt like, oh my God, she's the reference in English. She's asking me to be in live with her and talking in English. Oh my God, I felt pressure, but I'm humbled. I'm really honored to be here with you, to be live with this profile. Now I knew a fantastic profile, so thank you so much.
Thank you for accepting this. So, Fred, you're an air traffic controller and a pilot in training, right? Yeah. So, and when you're talking about aviation, we can feel your passion in your voice and the way you talk about it. How did your love for aviation start?
Well, it all started since I know myself as a human being. So I cannot remember my life without aviation. They were related since the beginning. So my father, he's in the military since 1988, I think. Yeah, 1988. So he's a military also. He's in the military, and he used to be an air traffic controller until 2001. So I was born in a house with aviation. So and as I live near to Bakashi Airport, used to now a little before, but anyway, I used to live near Bakashi Airport, so I was always listening to the engines, the aircraft. I was always watching the aircraft plane taking off, testing the engines, and all this stuff. And it always, it touched me somehow. And later, back in 2008, 2004, Esquadrilha Fumaça used to present a lot every year there. And it made me feel all the time, every time, even though the maneuvers were the same, all the time it felt the same sensation, like I need to be there. I want to be there. I want to be part of it. And At this point, you may be thinking that I always wanted to become a pilot, and that's true. It's kind of true. It's part, not 100%, but I tried to enroll at AFA, but because of my glasses, I couldn't. And so I felt a little disappointed and tried to escape from aviation actually. When I was 18, just after finishing my high school, I tried to move away, to get away from aviation, to leave it alone, to leave it behind. And anyway, but I couldn't. After after 1 year after I graduated at high school, I started to look to AR with a, you know, okay, maybe, who knows, let's try. And then I focused on it. I spent 6 months of my life studying to enroll at AR, and I did. But at this point, I wasn't so passionate about aviation, about air traffic control. I wanted to be a pilot. I didn't want to be a controller. So it was a process inside AR. I really started to realize how much I love to be in this environment, this environmental aviation, environmental air traffic control. I learned a lot, of course, and that's it. That's pretty much my story. It's a little bit. Let's go to this way. Then, oh, I don't want to be in the aviation anymore. Oh my God, it's everything I want to do with my life. So ups and downs.
It took an unexpected turn. But it's
Yeah.
surprising to hear you say that because when you talk about air traffic control, nobody would guess that it was your second choice because you
Yeah.
love it. You seem to love it.
I do. I really do. So, as I told you, I didn't know that I love it that much until I got into this environment, until I realized, until I practiced. I started to practice at AI. And then oh my God, that's cool. I like it. And then I started to develop my love for the air traffic control, and now I cannot see myself doing another thing, but controlling. I still want to be a pilot. That's why I'm academic of aeronautical sciences. So I still want to be a pilot, but I really do love air traffic control, and that's why I created this page.
Fantastic. Fred, I know you are operating under your minima there because you don't have your microphone and all. But could you speak up just a little bit because some people are having trouble understanding you? Yeah, if you could come closer, that
Yeah,
would help.
I will. I will. I'll try to. Let me
Okay.
know if it's okay. Okay.
Okay, let me see. Um, okay, Tiago Silva, who is now an instructor at DTC Galeão, so he's ours. He's saying that as we can all notice, you do a lot of things. How are you able to juggle work, Instagram, and your personal life?
Okay, I'll be closer. Okay, I took my cell phone. I'll be holding in my hand, but if it's greater, if the sound is it's okay, it's gonna be better for the live. Anyway,
I don't know,
uh,
is the sound better, everyone?
yeah, the
Can you
sound
hear
is
him better?
better. Please let me know.
Okay, but you're shaking.
I'll try to stop. I'll try to stop.
Okay. So
So,
how do you juggle it all?
okay, that's a great question because Instagram wasn't meant to be part of my life. It wasn't meant to be just social media where I post things about my life, my personal life. But I saw an opportunity of spreading the word of air traffic control and to reach people that I wouldn't be able to do so if I were just speaking at the TSEA or Sindacta. I was going to be able to reach pilots. And that was my goal when I first started this page, was to talk to pilots because I wanted them to understand how our work works, our job works, how we do. So that was the main goal. I felt this need of pilots knowing how we work, how is our job, and this kind of stuff. Because I think this way we can all know each other works and start to make and start to develop a better place, a better environment of aviation. And I think that's the best part of creating this page. But we can talk about it later.
Have you ever flown in a cockpit?
Yeah, I did. And the questions I got, the questions the pilots asked me when I was flying the cockpit, those questions actually were all the same. And I started to find a pattern like, oh my God, they are always asking the same things. How they don't know this kind of stuff? Because for us controllers it's obvious. So they are always asking the same thing. Then I started thinking, okay, I'll try to answer this question, but if I do for pilot to pilot, I'll be putting a lot of energy in order to reach just a few pilots. So how can I take it and spread this word, literally spread this word, because Instagram is viral. There are some things that I make that I have posted that can reach up to 100,000 people. So it's a lot. And then I created the Instagram because I wanted to answer this kind of questions that I always been asked for everyone.
And can you give us an example of that kind of question they would ask?
About restrictions, for example, if we have a C or a star, the aircraft they all have a lot of restrictions during descent or during the climb part of the flight. So they couldn't understand how come we wouldn't free him from a restriction, for example, just because there's no aircraft. They cannot see any aircraft there, but this kind of understanding that we have the big picture in our radar. We know what's going on, and if we do not clear the aircraft to do something, if we not issue the aircraft to do something, it doesn't mean that we don't want to. Maybe this thought they didn't know about it, so they were always asking the same thing, and I started to okay, how can I tell them that it's not this way, it's not that. Come on, start looking to our side because we're partners. You cannot fly without me, and I cannot control without you. So we cannot start fighting. We have to find a way to understand each other. So
Yeah, which is dovetails nicely with what Tiago said. He said communication is a two-way street. And if you don't understand who you're communicating with, so if pilots don't understand air traffic controllers and doubt air traffic controllers' motives, right? Like,
yeah,
you just don't want to give me the shortest route, then really communication's going to be tricky. So it
yeah.
makes a lot of sense. Do you remember any other questions that you would be asked?
I won't remember right now because it's a lot of questions and I already answered them, but I kind of lost it. But if we scroll through my profile, we will see a lot of quick tips. I call it quick tips like, oh, what is a category hotel, catch eight, procedure, what it is. So this kind of quick tips, they are mainly these questions that I got from pilots, and I found that it is a pattern. It's a pattern. They are always asking the same questions.
Okay, thank you. So remember, if you want to ask him any questions, just use the card here, the question card. And okay, but then Tiago was asking how you juggle it all.
Yeah.
And you weren't expecting to have this heavy load with Instagram, but then how do you cope with it?
So at first, at the beginning, it was hard. I wasn't able to post every single day. I started the page in 2019, so at that point I was still working at approach control, Curitiba approach control. So a lot of work. I was still getting used to this daily routine of posts and answering questions and showing myself. At first, I wasn't putting my face to people to see that I was me, that was me who was posting every single day. So it took me a lot of effort and time to understand that if I want to do this, it's above it's beyond my, for example, I need to work at approach control. I need to work at air defense. It's part of my job. I cannot stop doing this. But my goal, I found my goal. My goal was to spread this word of air traffic control, and I started to do this. And even though it felt sometimes, I always remember, no, I'm doing this because of great purpose is to spread the word of air traffic control. People do like it. People, they are, I don't know. And I receive a lot of messages from people who are applying to become a pilot, and after the test, they come to me and say, "Oh, I saw that post that you did, and this kind, and it helped me. I remember you saying that stuff, and you know, this kind of stuff. Every single day that I got some messages that I received this kind of message, it makes me just keep going, just keep going. That's the reason I do it.
Great. Um, Kate Costa '07 said that this Fred guy speaks English very well, Jabon.
uh,
So, which I agree with. So how did you learn English to such a high level?
High level, come on, you're being so good for Chimini. Well, I can say that I'm blessed that I have my mother. That she's an English teacher, and well, since I was 13, I think, yeah, since I was 13, she started speaking in English with me, nonstop, and I had no choice, and I started to develop this. Okay, if I want to talk to her, I have to talk in English, and I don't know when, but at some point I realized that it's like that CCAA speech, when you see you're speaking, and it happened because I was practicing every day, I was developing it, and when I saw it kind of was happening, and I still have a lot to learn. I'm I'm far from
We
good.
all do.
I'm far from excellent. No way. I have a lot to improve for sure, but that's how it happened. I was kind of since I was 13. I've been listening to English and trying to speak, and I had to make my way to it.
Fantastic. And what do you do to make sure you don't lose the proficiency you already have?
So it's to keep listening, practicing, speaking. My cell phone it's full English. My computer it's all in English. All the podcasts I hear they are in English. The YouTube videos, the content that for example, if I want to make a post about something, I'll go to a Skybrary website, which is in English, or I will read a ICAO document, which is also in English. So I'm always reading, speaking, listening, and trying to make English part of my routine, part of my daily routine.
Yeah, incorporating English into your daily life
That's it.
certainly is key. And what do you recommend to other Brazilian controllers who aren't level 4 yet or 5 and would like to reach that level?
Well, who am I to recommend something? But if I had to say just one thing, I would say dive in English. Just dive in it. Just take it and you put a goal and you say, I won't stop until I reach that level four. And how am I gonna do this? I'm gonna do this by putting myself on in English. I always do this. My colleagues they come to me and they say, are your cell phone in English? It looks like something that it's what it helps, but it does help, you know. And my in my experience, people say, okay, this daily routine. For example, I will open my cell phone and everything's gonna be in English. I open my computer, everything's gonna be in English. I will listen to some podcasts, even though I don't understand a word. After 2 3 months, I'll be starting to understand something. For me, it's more like just go for it. You don't have anything to lose. You don't have your level 4 yet, so go for it. That's my that's my advice.
Okay, fantastic. It's like immersion, right?
Yeah.
People believe, oh, I need to travel abroad so I can live the language. And you can live the language in Brazil, right? The way you do. Matt G. Fawn is asking if you're a level 6.
No, I'm far from level 6. As you can see.
Okay. But your English you're very proficient in English. That's what they can notice. Uh, yeah, we'll go back to aviation, Anarela. Um, and we have a question in from Tiago again, because you said the initial aim from for your Instagram was helping pilots understand controllers' point of view.
Yeah.
But uh, do you think air traffic controllers also profit from your mini lessons?
It was a bonus. For example, um, last year I started posting every day, and when it was my profile went from like 2,000 followers to 10,000 followers. So at this point, I couldn't stop. For example, just making posts for pilots. At some point, this content would be in the controller's hands. So it happened that a lot of controllers came to this page, and it happens that this content that I make, it fits for controllers, it fits for pilots, so everybody can join and learn something from the content I do. I think so.
Do you ever get questions from your fellow controllers, from your colleagues?
It happens sometimes. It happens. It happens.
It seems you're too shy to admit it.
I don't like to say. I don't like saying. For example, if I say yeah, it happens. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm that. Of course, it happened that the profile is big, but I don't see myself as a great guy who knows a lot. I'm average.
To be
Anything.
honest, to be honest, our friend from a escala de serviço, an air traffic controller in Brasília, he has asked us, how do you deal with the fame?
Well, I still think that I'm not famous. I'll keep thinking like that because, well, that wasn't the goal at the first time. When I started the page, I wasn't thinking about having lots of followers and being recognized in the street and this kind of stuff. But it happens, and I have to deal now. I'm starting to deal with a little bit better. I'm starting to talk to people. It happened when I was in Rio, taking a course at Rio. A guy recognized me in the airport, and it felt weird. It felt weird. I didn't know how to act. I was like, oh my god, what am I doing right now? You know. But
You
well,
have over 10,000, almost 11,000 followers. So you're bound to bump into some of them.
so I'm dealing with it, but I prefer to think that I'm helping a lot of people, not about fame. That's gonna be my goal always. That's why I don't like
Hmm.
to say that. You know, I try to keep focused on helping people, helping people. That's all. That's all.
Okay, fantastic. And to help people, I assume you have to study a lot to prepare what you do.
Yeah,
How do you go about preparing your posts?
that's uh, that's part of my routine. I'm always reading. I'm always watching videos about new techniques, about ATM, air traffic management. That's that's what I do. I'm always reading. I keep all hours and hours and hours and hours and hours reading a lot of regulations, a lot of documents, annexes, and everything else. Because people come to me asking some things that I think it's, oh my god, how can you think about it? How can you think about this situation? And I feel weird for not knowing about it, but it's something that, oh my god, why I never thought about it before? So I started looking for it. So it's always, I'm 100% of my time receiving questions and going to the internet and asking my friends. For example, Mariano, he's a great guy. He's the great. I'm here. I'm
He
here.
works in
Mariano
São
is
Paulo
here.
approach, and he's
He,
here. He's clapping. When you said you studied a lot, he started clapping.
he's here, and so he's one of my resources. I'm always consulting him and
Mine
asking
too.
him.
I'm always bothering him and you
So
and she.
he's the great guy. He knows a lot. So I'm always asking people who know more than me, and it's not that hard to find some people. Anyway, and reading, that's part of my. It became part of my life. Now I cannot do this. I cannot keep going and making content without this. And at first, it was possible because it was just to, the daily routine of air traffic control made me know something. Okay, I'll post about it. I'll tell about it. I'll make people to know about. I'll tell people about it. But from now on, at some point, it started that I reached a point that I cannot make any content anymore without studying a lot because that it's part. It happened, and I feel good about it because I feel more confident as an air traffic controller. Every time I'm asked about something, I know about it. I feel good to know that I'm not saying something wrong to someone, and I'm always concerned about it. Not saying anything that is not the right thing to know, the right thing. So that's it.
Um, yeah, and I loved your story about people asking questions you don't know the answer to. I have something similar in my career. Once a teacher trainee said, I love asking you English questions. And I said, why? Why? Because um, I've never answered one of them. Because every time he came to me, it was such a difficult question. And he said, yes, I know they're difficult questions, but you're the only teacher who bothers looking it up.
Yeah, that's true. I know how you feel because when I started, all the questions they people asked me, I knew it, and I used to answer it right back. At some point, people started asking a lot of other questions that now my I always answer just a little, just a moment, and then I go and I try to find the answer, and then I come back with the answer. Even though it passed like 2 months, it happened once that I left the guy waiting for 2 months, and after 2 months I came back and answered him. Oh my God, you remembered me. And I try to answer everybody. I try to answer
Some
everybody.
answers are more difficult, definitely. Um, can you remember anything that you have learned about ATC or aviation that you learned from your Instagram account, from
Yes,
researching?
for sure. This new air traffic management that they are implementing in São Paulo right now, point merge system, and all these new, these new techniques. I learned it from internet. I learned it from Mariano, who was the guy who was helping to develop this concept. And it was a thing that I learned 100% from internet and 100% to help people understand when they're flying. So last month I was coming from here to Curitiba, yeah, and I was in the cockpit with the pilot, and he asked me about this new circulation in São Paulo, and I was able to answer him, and it felt good because I knew I was doing my job as I knew I was doing what I was supposed to do. He asked me, and okay, I know it, I'll help you. And I really love doing this.
Um, Glacy Laney is asking if you have plans to become an officer.
I do. I cannot say that I do not have plans, but it's still too far from my I cannot reach it yet, so I'll leave it for the future.
Cool. And Inglês com Asas, so the fantastic teacher Daniela Terenzi is asking if you have a favorite aviation related movie.
I would say Sully. It was a movie that made me think and made me really think about what is to be and to leave aviation, not just to be a pilot, not just to be a controller. And well, it's silly. I really love this movie.
If you watching us don't know, Sully is the movie about the Hudson landing, the
Yeah,
plane.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah, the captain that landed a plane in a river in New York,
Yeah,
and she
it made
agrees
me
that's a good
real.
one,
Sorry.
and she agrees that that's a good one.
Okay, that's really a good one. And I remember the main thing was when they were at the court, and he started saying that aviation is made by people. We have to remember that we are people, and even though we have a lot of technology, radar screens, a lot of automations in the aircraft, we still are people behind the aircraft. We still are people behind the radar screen. And when something comes to some situation, some tough situation comes up to, we're persons. We are, you know, that it made me think that okay, that's true. We cannot blame someone for what he did during a stress situation because we are person. We are human beings. So it made me think about it.
Paiva Aviation is asking, I think he's asking about where do you study to become a pilot?
Well, I still don't have a school. I'm just taking my graduation at Unisu, and that's all for now. I still do not start my career as a pilot flying, just studying just the theoretical part.
Fantastic. Yeah, and he lives in Curitiba, not in Rio. Um, okay, Tiago is asking if you would were to change your job, would you rather be a commercial pilot or an English teacher? I think he's trying to go up to the English
Okay,
team.
that's a tough one. Because when I started the page, I realized that I really, really love teaching. I really do. I do love teaching, and I started to consider it as a to follow this path. Even though I really love commercial pilot, or I don't know, cannot be both.
Yeah,
I
of
would.
course.
I'll be great with both. I'll be great with both.
Yeah, you can be both. You can be an air traffic controller and English instructor, and you can also be a commercial pilot and English instructor. Lieutenant Louisa from Syndacta too. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He wants to be an English teacher. Uh, um, where do your ideas for posts come from? The first ideas came from the pilots when you were flying in the cockpit, but
Yeah.
now, where does it come from?
Still come from pilots and some controllers. Uh, Now, for example, the post that I did today, that I posted today, it came from a question that a guy asked me, and all the questions I received before I answered them, I start thinking, is it obvious for me? Because sometimes it is, but I started developing a culture that the obvious has to be. We have to say the obvious because for some people it is not. And all the questions
For
I
some
get.
people, like the English teachers who follow you.
Oh, come on. You know a lot. You
It's
know a
not
lot.
obvious, you need to say it. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I always. I always take this and I always process the question and I start to think, okay, is it obvious for me? Yes, it is, but why is he asking me this? So, okay, then I start a process in my mind thinking, is it worth your post? Is it a great content? Okay, okay, I'll post it about it. Then I started research, and after all the research, I come with the post. It happens like 80% of the time. 20% are contents that I am scheduled. For example, I have something about point merge, something about four corner ATM methods. So this kind of stuff, they are scheduled. So I have some. Okay, at this point, I will post about point merge. After that, I will post about about someone's question, and everything can become content. So when I realized it, it made me feel like, okay, now I can post every day because I know that there is content to post every day.
Fantastic. And how long does it take to make a post?
Wow, it depends. Sometimes, well, let me think. If we cut all the intervals that I get, for example, from scratch to the post, I would say like 2 to 3 hours of work between
From
research.
that includes the research.
Yeah, that includes the research. So from scratch, I have nothing. I, I think, okay, I'll do a post about it. Then I started research. I started everything. I started the design because I still do everything. I do the design. I do the content, and I post. So the complete package. And it takes me like 2 hours, 3 hours to make the post. Great, like 10. We have the carousel, right? The carousel post that is light. So this
Many,
kind of
many
post,
slides.
yeah. Sometimes I fill up all the 10 available posts, all available pictures. So it takes me like 3 hours to make it between research and posting. There are some other posts, for example, the reels. People love the reels I do, and they are faster. Even though it's video, they are faster because I come with some idea in my mind. I'm coming with some idea in my mind, and I just do it. It's just spontaneous. It's great. I love it. It's faster. It helps a lot of people, and it's easier to watch. Sometimes people don't want to stop and scroll through a lot of text, and some reels, sometimes some videos, it makes easier to digest the content. So
The joys of being a man. Because Talita and I, when we want to record a video, is like, oh, I don't look nice, and then we do it again,
yeah,
and I just record once, and it's fine.
it's faster. It's faster for me to make some
You don't
videos.
even need to put makeup on. I envy you. Uh, and okay, we have another question. Remember, if you want to ask a question, use the question, the speech bubble here with a question mark. Wesley Menezes is asking, what do you think, a big question. What do you think is the future of the aviation industry in the world?
I feel like I'm gonna please right now.
Sorry?
I feel like I'm gonna please right now because it's the kind of question I'm asking at please. Oh, what's the future of aviation? So I will use the please structure. Well, that's a tricky question. Well, that's a tricky question. I cannot say that much about the future of aviation. I'm positive about the recovery from pandemic. I'm positive that it's gonna, become stronger than it was before. I really love aviation. I don't like to see the way it is. Sometimes during the boom of the pandemic, I used to go to work and arrive there and to see that radar screen empty, no aircraft flying, all the aircraft grounded. It felt really bad. I didn't like that feeling. So I'm rooting for the aviation to recover as fast as possible and to become stronger than it was before.
Fantastic. So since we are doing a please like questions, and in terms of ATC in Brazil, what do you see in the future? Because
Well,
you've been studying it. You've been studying the new technologies, right?
yeah, that's it. People always ask me about ADSB, this technology, and it's already using. They are already, for example, Macaé terminal is already using an ADSB. They are using it for all the helicopters, and it's well, from my point of view, and from the say, I cannot speak by this for the say, but in my point of view, I think it's gonna be really great when we implement the ESP to all the continental ESP, because we'll be able to see aircraft flying low at low level and provide better service. For example, provide better information to the aircraft flying, even though we're not controlling, because it's an uncontrolled airspace. But even though we were not controlling, we will be able to provide better information service to them, and it's gonna be great for everyone.
Can you explain this technology a little bit for those who don't know it?
Yeah, for sure. ADSB, it's a little bit different from radar because radar, it depends of a signal that it's gonna be emitted by the radar. It's gonna bump in the aircraft and reflect back to the radar. ADSB is a little bit different. We have all the receivers in the ground on the ground, and the aircraft is broadcasting the signal. So it's like the automatic dependency surveillance broadcast. That's the acronym. And the broadcast, it means that it's always broadcasting all the information we need. So we do not need something on the ground to reach the aircraft. The aircraft is broadcasting to everybody, and we can capture this time from anywhere else. So it makes it easier for us because, as I told you, at low levels, we still nowadays we cannot detect some aircraft at low level because of the radar, because it works in a linha divisada that we call in Portuguese. So with the ADSB implemented, it would be able to capture the signals from all these aircraft and provide a better service, as I told you.
Fantastic. And shall we say it's something we needed for a long time and providing better service to all aircraft.
Yeah.
Flying our airspace is a must. Fabio Schreiner is asking you what you think of unmanned flights and automated air traffic control.
Yeah.
So, removing humans off the equation, what do you think?
Okay. I'm doing some research. I I found some researchers of Embraer to Embraer X project, which is an unmanned aircraft project to help with urban mobility. And wow, that's quite interesting, right? And it's already developed. They are already developing it, and it's growing fast. It's insane. This unmanned aircraft environment is growing fast. And the SAIA is already developing UTM airspace, which stands for Unmanned Traffic Management, which is gonna be like it's gonna be holding hands with ATM, and it's gonna be just for unmanned aircraft. And talking about international, they are always looking to unmanned aviation as something really big that is going to become even bigger than manned aviation, for example.
So, the Embraer projects are about unmanned flights, right?
Unmanned aircraft for urban mobility. It's gonna be like
Okay. So,
Uber, for
passenger
example.
planes with no
You're
pilots.
gonna catch an Uber, but it's gonna be flying through the city. It's crazy, but it's real. It's happening.
Oh, another master of mine is here, Lieutenant Rossi. Fantastic from a São Paulo approach too. And did you comment on automated air traffic control? Or I don't think you did, right? Do you
Sorry.
think it is going to be possible to remove human beings from air traffic control?
Oh no, I'm pretty sure that it's not happening. It's not happening actually because, as I told you, that this is a point that I it made me think. It made me realize when I watched Sully. There are some things that machines cannot do. They are strict.
Mhm.
Some things we improvise sometimes, and that's what makes us human beings. We improvise. We do something that was not expected from us. And aviation, mainly air traffic control, we need this. We need it. So I don't think human beings are gonna be pulled away from air traffic control.
Fantastic. What other Instagram profiles and resources, such as apps and websites, do you recommend to aviation lovers?
Okay. I'm a big fan of Skybrary. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if Talita can type it for people, but Skybrary is an amazing place, an amazing resource from aero control, ICAO. All the documents are listed there. So you read an article, and after that you have all the resources. And well, AV Hero, it's a great place also
Can
because
you repeat, please?
AV Hero, AV Hero,
Skyberry, the website, right?
yeah.
Then Eurocontrol and ICAO website too.
No, the Skybrary, the content that we have in Skybrary is a content from Eurocontrol and ICAO. So we have all the article there, and after that we have all the documents listed, which this article was based in.
Okay, good. And then you recommended something else.
Aviation Herald.
Oh, Av Herald. It's AV, so Alpha Victor Herald
Yeah, that's
dot
it.
com, right?
That's it. Why? Why do I recommend this website? Because in aviation we're used to learn from previous mistakes. And nothing better to do this than looking to previous mistakes and knowing what happened, the the final statement from the authority that that's what happened. And I don't know, me myself speaking for myself, I learned a lot from AV Herald because I can see some profiles, some patterns again that okay, this may lead to this, and this may lead to this, and it makes me makes me a better controller. I think so because then
Yeah,
I understand.
for those of you who don't know it, Av Herald is a website that has incidents and accidents from all over the world. And if you check it now, you'll see incidents that happened today. And sometimes they have the pictures, sometimes they have weather radars, and you can learn a lot of vocabulary from it too. And even
Ah,
practice. If you have the picture, you can try to practice describing the picture and then checking what really
that's
happened.
great. That's another tip. You asked me about tips for people who are not level 4 yet. That's another tip. You go to this website because you're going to learn a lot of vocabulary and you have a lot of pictures to describe for yourself. So that's it.
Fantastic. And any other websites or Instagram accounts?
Well, I'm not gonna say Instagram accounts because I'm gonna be forgetting someone. Sorry, I have a lot. I will pass all of the Instagram accounts that I follow, so you can post on stories later, so people can see. Can be? Can we agree with it?
Good, good, good,
Okay,
good.
I'll do this because if I start saying right now, I'll forget I'll forget someone, and I don't want to do this.
Yeah, you don't want anybody to be left out, to
That's
feel
it.
left out, right? Good. And would you like, if we don't have any more questions, because we only have 10 minutes more to go, what's your ATC, what's air traffic control in Curitiba like?
I've always worked here in Curitiba, so I cannot say the difference between here and other facilities, but working here feels great for me, personally speaking, because I was raised here. So I don't know. It has its complexity because we have two airports close to each other and a lot of conflicts. And I don't know, we're controllers, we do like this kind of complex to solve. And nowadays we have a complex terminal with 3 airport, and the circulation is changing right now. So it's always, I don't know, it's a challenge. It's always a challenge. I love it. But I would like to know how it feels to work in São Paulo approach control. I do not intend to go, but I'm curious about it. Sometimes I think, oh my God, how would we to work there? Because I think
Sikas
with
is here. Sikas.
oh
Colonel
my God.
Sikas is here.
No, I intend to be here in Curitiba, okay? It's just a feeling, it's just a
Okay,
feeling.
because your transfer documents, my God. Okay, and finally, what would you like to make us any suggestions for an IONU? Give us the recipe for success, maybe.
Come on, you're doing great. You're doing great. If I had to put a ranking from pages with most relevant content into aviation English, for sure you would be on top because it's 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 related to air traffic control. It's you're making content for air traffic controllers, and sure we should. I know it's great. You're doing a great job. Consistency is the key. So always be posting every day because people expect to have it from us as content producers. We do this. So consistency. People expect from us a content every single day. A little bit, just a tip, quick tip, and that's the key for
Thank you
the.
for the tip and the compliment. And above all, thank you for coming, for accepting our invitation and sharing your knowledge and your passion with us. It's always great to hear you speak, and now in English too.
Pleasure's on mine. As I told you, I'm humbled to be here. Any controller in CCAP will be able to do this. I'm not exceptional. I'm not different from anyone. I'm just an average guy. But I'm really honored. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Don't be so modest. You're great. Um, Thank you everyone for coming. And the live is recorded and it'll be on in our IGTV soon.
That's
Thank
it.
you
Thank
all.
you. Thank you so much.
This is the end of the test. No, just kidding. He said I was asking you please like questions. So thank
Oh,
you.
yes.
Bye.
Thank you.